Hey everyone, Jason here. Well, it's New Year's Eve day, and I'm out at the camp, just doing a few things around camp, but the cold is definitely an issue today. It's sitting around minus 15, but the weather reports are saying between minus 15 and minus 20, so yeah, pretty cold. Yeah, face feeling like it's freezing, my teeth feel like they're freezing. So I decided I'm gonna skip on the shelter a bit today and just focus on fire and gathering up all the materials that I need. So today I'm gonna do a video on starting a campfire. Okay, so starting a campfire, relatively easy, but it is something that takes practice, just like anything. Starting a campfire, just like any fire, you need three things, okay? You need your fuel, right, which is your wood. You need oxygen for the fire just to happen, and then you need a source of ignition. So right now, we're just gonna focus on our fuel, and for our fuel, we have three different parts as well. Okay, so we have our tinder, which is really small, fine stuff, smaller than the lead of a pencil. Then we have kindling, which is larger than a lead of a pencil, up to about pencil size or pencil thickness. And then we have, our wood or our fuel to keep the fire burning. So in winter, you really need to know where to look. In summer I don't want to say it's easier, but in summer it's easier because you can see the ground and you can walk around and just pick up sticks and twigs and stuff that's lying on the ground. In winter, everything is covered up. Right now we have between a foot and 2 feet of snow. So yeah, everything's covered up and it makes it a little bit more tricky. But there are some tinder in the forest, in the bush, that is accessible all the time. So I've hiked over to the cedar grove because cedar bark is one of the tinders that is actually quite good. Now the thing I want to point out right away is when you're collecting any fuel, any wood processing, don't take it all from one source unless it's like a survival situation, that you are actually trapped. Spread it out. Don't strip down off all the bark off of a tree. Take little bits here and there so that your impact is spread out. Okay, if you damage the bark of a tree, you could kill the tree, and then what's the point? So I think that's really important. Okay, so when you're out sourcing your tinder or your kindling, or your main fuel, don't take it all from one tree. You're in a forest, lots of trees, so spread it out over, a larger area. Okay, so anyhow, cedar, yeah, gonna get some. So this is cool. So I'm out looking for my tinder, and I found a porcupine den here. So you can see quite a hole in this maple tree, and it's definitely active. Lots of scat inside and down the front, and the reason I know it's porcupine is because, well, the size of the scat, but there's also some quills around here. I don't want them to jump out at me. Okay, so you see, porcupine. Alright, well, we're gonna get out of here and leave this guy alone. It's cold. I'm sure he just wants to be left alone so he can rest. Pretty cool. Okay, so I found one of the things that I wanted to find. I got a dead cedar in there. Bark's already falling off it. So I'm going to go in and just harvest a little bit of it. I'm not going to take it all despite the tree being dead. The bark, it's still habitat for bugs. Birds eat bugs, right? So yeah, so I'll go in, take a little bit, and then there's another spot that I want to get to. All right, so the holy grail of tinder. I've got a birch tree here. Now, birch is pretty rare around here. I've only seen a few in the woods as I've been hiking around. So I'm going to take some, but I'm not going to take a whole lot. Definitely want this tree to last for a while. And you know, if I take just a little, it'll regenerate and grow more. So you know, I can continue to harvest it over time. If I strip it down now, I'll kill the tree, and then that'll be the end of it. Okay, well, there's one more spot that I want to show you for finding both tinder and kindling, and it's areas like this where a tree has fallen, and you can see the snow is built up around it, but there's basically like a snow cave. Down underneath there is relatively dry, so this is a great spot to look for small sticks and even dry leaves, and not only in winter, but it's a good spot to look in the summer when it's raining. Okay, well, I'm back at camp and I've got my bundle of tinder here. Now, I've got a fair amount. Like I said, I gather up about 3 times what you need. So this is possibly enough for me to do 3 fires. What I've got here is I've got some burrs. Everybody loves burrs. The most annoying thing to be pulling off your clothes or your dog. But burrs, they grow on the burdock plant, which the root is actually... you know, you can drink it and it's good. It's a blood purifier. But these burrs actually make pretty good tinder as well. I've got some birch bark. I've got some cedar bark. And then I found some dry just grass as well. So that's what I've got to use as my tinder. And yeah, the next is we need to create a layout, a fire layout. Oh, I've got a little nuthatch on a tree behind me. So the next step is to create a fire layout. Now, I know 15 different fire layouts, and I'm going to make a video that demonstrates all 15. But for now, I'm just going to show a couple, okay? So let me put this down, and then I'll show a couple fire layouts. Put my mitts down so I don't freeze my knees off while I do this. Now, okay, I'm going to show you 2 different fire layouts. The first one, pretty common, okay? It's basically it's the upside down fire layout, and it's great for when you're out in the snow or in the rain. Basically, what you do is you set up a layer of logs or thicker wood, thicker fuel for burning, and then you make another platform on top. Okay, so ideally what you'd do is you'd have several layers. You'd go 3 high, 4 high, and once you have your layers in place, what you do is you just take your tinder bundle, put it on top, right? Add some kindling on top of that, right? And then fuel it up or fire it up. So yeah, so basically it's called the council fire, the platform fire, the upside down fire. It's really good in snow and in wet conditions because obviously you're burning on top of something that's dry, right, or drier, and it'll just burn away, burn a hole, and slowly, burn away from the logs, and you just continue to push into the center. You will add stuff on top as well, usually as you go, but yeah, it's, this is a really good way to start a fire in, tougher conditions. So I'm not going to start my fire with the platform. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start it with another fire layout. Now, I build fires like this, and I don't know of, many other people who do, and I don't know if it's got another term, so I'm just calling it the trail guide fire layout. I'm going to take credit for it if it's my invention. Probably isn't. It's pretty straightforward. But basically what we're going to do is I'm going to use the fire pit, but I'm going to take a few of my stakes, okay, or a few of my pieces of wood, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into the fire pit like this, okay. So I'll see if I get 3, maybe I'll get 4 in, and then from there I'll put my tinder bundle inside. All right, so it's up elevated again off the snow and off, it's good if it was raining, and then I'll build around it on top, and then I'll light it again, okay. So what I like about this one as well is that once I have again, it's a platform, I guess. Once I have my platform created, I can light my tinder bundle outside of my fire pit, and pick it up and set it in, and then build everything around it. Okay, so now that I got my fire going, I'm just adding more kindling on top. So kindling's the next stage, right? We created our tinder bundle of everything we gathered up today, and now I'm adding kindling. Now, you can find kindling is just branches that have been hung up in the trees. You know, they've fallen down and they're just caught up. So those will be half decently dry. Or if you have cedars or pine trees, often the very lowest branches of the cedar or the pine, you'll see they're bare and they're completely dry. They'll snap off with no problem. So those are really good to use as well. So what I'm using is all of the little bits of dead branches from when I gathered up my logs for the shelter. So I just saved all of that so it wouldn't go to waste, and now I'm using it for my kindling and the fire. Now, I definitely don't have enough to last the winter. I would have to gather some up, but yeah, I'm not going to just leave these sticks lying out where I gathered up my wood for the shelter. It's totally usable resource here, and I don't want anything to go to waste. All right, so now from here, the thing is I need to build up a good bed of coals, okay? And that's why, some people are probably watching wondering what the purpose of the stakes in the ground. So that's creating a bed of coals. It's not going to be as much as the platform fire, but still you'll have some nice thick pieces that are going to build up nice hot coals along them. And that basically helps the fire go, okay? So I'm going to keep adding kindling and just create more and more hot coals before I add any larger pieces in there. It's actually, I think, what a lot of people struggle with in their first campfire, or at least what I've watched, is that they kind of jump the gun and they get the fire going. They have some kindling in there, and then they start adding large pieces. And then if you remember, like I said earlier, that you need three things, right? You need your fuel, your oxygen, and your ignition. Well, when you start adding large pieces on there, you take away the oxygen and you suffocate your fire. So that's why it's really important to get a good bed of hot coals going. Okay, now a nice thing also is I didn't use up all of my tinder, so I'm going to pack away the rest of this tinder that I have, and I'll have it available for the next fire. Okay, yeah, this is much better, getting the chill off. So I'm going to make myself a cup of Bushcraft coffee and just relax for a while. Sun's going down, I think, but yeah, it's probably only like 4 o'clock, but this time of year the sun's down around 5, so Okay, well, I made myself a nice cup of Bushcraft coffee to warm myself up from the inside. Fire's going pretty good, and the snow is starting to fall. So I'm going to stay warm, and hopefully you're enjoying this series. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it the thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please leave a comment as well. You know, I like to hear where people are from and what you're doing. I lived overseas for 6 years, so it's good to connect with people, you know, everywhere. So, yeah, anyhow, thanks for watching.